Everybody make it all right? Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brad, thank you for that you're here meeting with us today. We ask you to guide us, give us commissioners that make decisions for the county. That's going to watch over the citizens of the county and particularly our employees, protect them as they travel. Great.
Amen. I'll call the regular meeting of the Linn County Commission to order. First up, we have minutes from the previous meeting. Is there any additions or corrections to those minutes?
Make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from last week.
I'll second it. Motion moved and seconded to approve the minutes from last week's meeting. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
I've got a couple questions on the claims. I seen that there's 220,000 going to the STARS program.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we ask for a memorandum of the agreement from them of what that was for when we did that or not?
I don't know.
That they'd reach out and give us
What they're spending the money
what
on.
they're spending the money on?
I don't remember, Jim. My recollection was that they said they would report to you regularly on what they were spending it on. I don't know that there was a memorandum of understanding or anything, but I can't remember. So far, they haven't made any report on it, have they?
Nope.
Is that a Jessica question? I mean, she sits on that board, doesn't she?
Yeah, I think she does.
Ask her about it.
And then something else, like the Southeast Kansas, the juvenile payments due. When is that we have to get out of that contract?
Can't remember.
July 1?
Is it? I can't remember. We've gone through it 2
I
years.
don't remember if it was
Yeah,
July.
I believe it's a 6-month notice, so we'd have to notify them before July of this year to get out of the next one.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I personally like to see what the money's being spent on. I mean, I know we voted it, but I thought we talked about it at the time that we were.
For the
Right.
stars.
I can agree with that.
Okay.
You want David to invite Dr. Alex to come over and make a report on it?
I would. I'd like to hear what it is and, have it in writing, what we've spent it on. I mean, it's,
Sizable amount.
pardon me?
It's a sizable amount.
Yeah. 220,000 this time, and then you're going to pay the rest.
Yeah, this was roughly 2/3, and then when I had talked to him, I said we'd need to wait until after the second half distribution of taxes before we'd have the rest of it, which would be like late May, early June, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Well, that's the only two questions I had, though. It's, I'll make a motion. Will we pay it before they do this, or how will we do it? I mean,
Check's sitting there ready to go. He's planning on picking it up tomorrow, but that's going to be up to you guys what you want to do.
Is Jessica here?
Yes. She was a few minutes ago anyway.
You got it? You still have a little bit of insight on it. I mean, Jessica, we ask her, see if she has any, because I know she sits on that board. And I mean, I'm assuming it's for all the construction they've been doing, but I mean, that's only an assumption, so. Ask her real quick. Hey, Jessica, Jim had a question about the stars.
the STARS program, I thought had a memorandum of understanding that what the money would be spent for when we paid it is what I thought. It'd be back to talk to us.
Okay, I don't remember specifically a memorandum, but I know that you asked him to come back in periodically. I we've discussed insurance and fire suppression and building remodel, but I don't know specifically how much was spent on what. I can reach out to Dr. Allen if you'd like and see when he can come in and speak to you.
Okay. I'd like that.
Okay.
Thanks, Jessica.
I'll make a motion to pay the claims in the amount of $440,650.41.
I'll second.
Motion been moved and seconded to approve the claims in the amount of $440,650.41. Are there any more discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries.
Yeah, don't see anyone from AMR here. Lewis had emailed me a time or two and didn't know if they could make it, but I do have copies of his numbers. If you want to run through that.
$39 calls for the week, 19 transports is what we're showing. Looks like they were busiest in Mound City, Pleasanton as well. Any questions on that?
I have a question, or I guess, well, I'll just wait for AMR actually.
Okay. Sheriff's report for the week. Total prisoners in of 56, 9 releases this past week. Total farmed out 1 due to a conflict. Total farmed in 37, 911 calls 76, jail contacts 3,745, calls for service 426, civil service papers served 18, VIN inspections 3, new cases opened 8, cases closed 5 vehicle crashes, probably be more after today. SRO activity 77, bailiff contacts 146, livestock out 1. Randy, fire?
Good morning, Commissioners. Randy Higwell, Linn County Rural Fire Emergency Management. I sent out the call summary for this week. We had 14 incidents. Out of 14 incidents this week, 9 of them were this weekend. Crews were busy with structure fires and a couple of car wrecks. I appreciate all their time and effort they put in this weekend. I also want to thank the sheriff's dispatchers and sheriff's deputies. They were on scene in AMR during these, working with us and helping us out any way they could. I really appreciate the joint effort, and all of it. Things went smooth because of all that cooperation. Brings our total up for the year to 25. We have LEPC meeting this Thursday at 7:00 here at the annex. So other than that, I have nothing this week. Other than one of the wrecks, it ended up being a hazmat incident on 1077. At this time, I don't know if it's still closed, but it was closed yesterday. We'll update it on our Facebook page when we know for sure. We'll try to get up there today and check that scene. So
Okay.
that's all I have. Unless you guys have something.
I don't. Thank you, Randy.
All right, thank you.
Chris?
Good afternoon. Chris Martin, Linn County IT Director. I don't have an update on the Evergy yet. They didn't get back to me last week. I'll follow up with them this week, try to reach back out. I'm sure the weather has probably got them bogged down. Last year, during budget season and prior, we had discussed replacing our storage servers in the county, as well as adding a metrics server. We can rediscuss anything, obviously, you'd like to, but I'd like to see if it'd be okay with me proceeding with those purchases. Just as a refresher, there's 2 storage servers because we run redundant. One is here, another one is somewhere else in the county, where we back up offsite. Each server is $11,000 a piece, and the metric server is $5,000. for that. And I reran those numbers again this morning, and I know they're still good.
How old are the ones that we were replacing?
The two storage servers were put in early 2017. So we're well over 5 years, and we're starting to have some hard drive issues.
That's been budgeted. for this.
Yes, sir. Yep, this was all budgeted.
I'm good with it. I mean,
I am too. So do we need a motion to allow him to?
For that kind of expense, that'd probably be a good idea.
So $27,000.
Yes, sir. That's right.
I'll make a motion that we allow Chris and IT to purchase 2 new storage servers and a metric server for a total of $27,000.
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to allow Chris to purchase the servers for $27,000. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries.
Very good. The only thing, just, you've seen it in your email, but just to let everybody know, tomorrow is the kickoff meeting for that notification system. Several departments have people that will be involved in that initial meeting. Again, I don't expect the spin-up time on that to be real long, but we'll know a lot more after tomorrow.
Does every department have somebody? I mean,
I sent an email out to all departments. Most departments are sending somebody, or it's on Zoom or whatever, online. But yeah, I know Public Works, Planning and Zoning, Registry of Deeds. There's several. I'm going off the top of my head. I know Health Department. There was at least 5 or 6 people that responded. They wanted to be involved in this. Now, this is just the kickoff meeting. And then there will be a training, that'll be a formal training afterwards by them as well. And then, of course, I'd like to schedule with you, as we discussed, having a workshop to discuss how you want that to be structured.
Develop policies and procedures.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Darren? Planning and zoning?
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Darren Wilson, Planning and Zoning Director. I got word back from Prairie View High School. They have an open date of February the 26th.
That's for the forum.
Public forum, yes.
so I just sat in on the meeting the other day or last week and just listened to what, and I think there was some confusion on what everybody thought we wanted. So I just kind of wrote some things down, see what you guys thought and what you thought. And, I think that we should have a set date to finish our regs. What do you guys think about that? Do you think we should have it, be done with our regs by, you said the 26th? Is the,
Yes, yeah. I think we have five or six sections left. 3 or 4 of those sections are pretty short. We're getting ready to start the buffer plan. It's pretty big, and I'm sure that it'll be lengthy to go through. The goal is, though, to in the first meeting, they talked about trying to get through 2 sections a meeting. A week, yes.
so do you think if the 22nd, how long do you think it'll take to get through the regs? I mean, what do you guys think about putting a deadline on a cap so that we can move forward with it and still discuss it before the 26th? Or how do you guys want to do that? Do you want them to come in here weekly, or should we put a date to be done with the regs? And then between then, that date and the 26th, we do like a workshop and talk about everything all at once so that we're not, having to get everybody here every single meeting. What do you guys think of that?
I think it would be good to have the recap before that public hearing,
Right. That's what, so, I mean,
or public forum, sorry. Spoke wrong. Can you be done by the 26th, or do we need to be looking at a different later date with Prairie View?
Today's the 22nd.
So you'll have the 24th.
We've got one the 24th, the 31st, and what, the 6th? I can't see that very well. 7th.
Could you be done by the 7th?
I think it's possible to be done if we get through 2 sections. And even with the buffer plan, if we don't get through all of it, the next meeting, like I said, the road use agreement, there's the financial part, decommissioning, and I don't know that those would take that long to go through because they've already discussed a little bit of the decommissioning in other meetings that
What's your reasoning for wanting it done before the meeting?
I just felt that it was more structure in their meetings. They didn't really know which direction to go. I think there was just some confusion and help them get through the regs faster, so that we can continue on with it and have everything done by the 26th. And I don't know, have expectations for them. What do you think?
well, the last meeting, there wasn't a whole lot of progress in the regulations because they discussed verbiage to put out for the public forum. And then they talked about other things that dealt with the regulations but was outside of it.
I personally don't see why we need to hurry them. I mean, if they can be done that way, that's fine, but I don't know what's our advantage of hurrying them through them, I guess, is my question.
So they could be done by the forum and then. So
Why be done by the form, I guess, is what I'm asking.
Well, I mean, isn't that our main objective, is to go through the regs isn't that?
Danny, I thought the purpose of the forum was to hear more public comment to elucidate the process of going through the regs.
Well, I know
what
what I'm saying.
too,
That's
but
we get opinions on the
I think
regs.
I thought that was a reasoning for the meeting to see what the people wanted in the regs. I mean,
But
well-
I feel like that we have to have findings for each, pros and cons for each regulation, chapter or whatever you guys want to call it, to explain. I guess I guess I'm kind of confused on what we want to, so that's why I'm bringing it to.
well, I thought the idea of our meeting was to find out what Linn County, whether we wanted regulations or what does Linn County want, is what I thought. Whether we move on with the regulations or move on with the prohibition. I mean, that's the two options.
But right now, we have regulations and solar is allowed in our county. We have a moratorium on it, which is just a stoppage, right? There's not a prohibition. It's temporary. So as of right now, solar is allowed in our county, right?
Right, although we're not accepting new applications, but solar's still legal in the county.
So then to be able to change that, we have to have these findings we got to go through our regs and find findings to turn that opinion around, right?
If you decide to ban solar in the county, you will need specific findings supporting that ban.
Which would be going through the regs.
No, they would basically be external to the regs. They would be saying that we don't need the regs because for this reason and this reason and this reason, we don't want solar at all. I think that's how I would see it. I mean, the findings are if you want to make changes to the regs, not eliminate the regs. I mean, well, the question is, what do you want this public forum to be about? Do you want it to be?
I want it to be educated.
I thought the public forum was to hear the public say, here's what we think about these specifics in the regs. We think this is a problem. We think this is a problem. We would like to, and if some of them say we don't want to see solar at all, or some say, oh, we're all for it. I thought that was what the public forum was about, was getting the public input. That's been the complaint, is that they haven't had enough input.
Which would be getting the regs done first and foremost.
I think you could approach it either way. You could say, okay, we have done some revisions. Here's what we've got now. What do you think? Or you could say, we're in the process of revising.
Here's what we have so far.
Here's what we have so far.
Where does the planning and zoning board feel like the meeting needs to be? Does it need to be in February? Does it need to be later? Are we pushing them with that meeting too fast, or is that when they want it?
No, I just got the information Friday on the 26th. So I just wanted to bring it to you guys.
I've talked to some of them, and I think that's a little too soon. That's what they think, but I don't know the reasoning, but it's
So maybe we look at a different date in March on that, and we try to have the zoning regs done in there as done as they can be prior to that, so that we can work on getting that information out to the people.
I think if we don't have them done, we can't give the public information of what they say. The only information that we have right
I
now,
mean, this isn't gonna be the hearing.
right,
This is the public forum.
right.
So, I mean, there would still be the time to
but you know, go ahead.
reflect on the statements made by the public and make changes and then have a hearing.
Right.
We should take into their consideration if we do with the regulations of what we hear in this meeting too. I mean, that's something else. I mean, I personally don't think we need to have our regulations finished by then, because we could change a lot of things if that's what the public chooses to do in the regulations, you know, or we'll hear more voices of what.
Do you not feel it's important to the public having an educated facts in front of them? I mean, or we just allow everybody to go in there and, I mean, if you get on Facebook, you see all these no posts and you're going to believe it. You don't see any yes ones.
Well, that's what this meeting's for, is to see what we got on both sides. I mean, that's what I think it is anyway. We get to see the pro and the anti-solar, and then we work from there.
It would make sense to me, if you care at all, which you probably don't, to set your meeting whenever you say you're going to set it, when the planning and zoning feels comfortable setting it, let them continue to work on the revisions, and then prior to your meeting, you've got the current regulations, plus you've got a red line set that show potential revisions, and you present them with both. Say, here's what we got, here's what we're thinking about doing. We haven't finished this part, or we finished it all. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of difference.
Right.
And then everybody's working from the same, you know.
Right, and let's not hurry them through the regulations if they want to continue working on it.
If they get done in time, fine. If they don't, you just present the red line edition of what they have done.
And ask the planning and zoning board where they're comfortable with the date of the meeting.
Okay. Is that any clearer, or is it as murky as ever?
Danny, does that address your issues at all?
I mean, that's exactly what I'm thinking, but I just wanted to put a date on it so that they could get going through it. I mean, and then when we talk about the forum, how's that going to work? Are we going to, this is just what I'm thinking this is what I'm visualizing is we have a professional that's, you know, I guess, and then a guy that's a professional that has facts on anti-solar, and we have them answer any public questions. I mean, what do you guys think?
Well, I mean, the forum's all about input
Right.
from the public.
Right. So if the public has questions, we need to have professionals there to answer it, correct?
I don't know
I
that
don't
it's
say
gonna
that
be
you
able to
need
be
a
a
professional
question.
there, because I mean, you're actually asking the public what they want. I mean, that's what I think you're asking Linn County what they want.
And it's not supposed to be a debate.
Okay,
I mean,
it's not public comment time.
I'm not,
Sorry, Jason.
It's all right. Thank you.
I'm talking like a pro and against to educate people if they have a question.
If there are questions about the regulations, the planning and zoning board is there to answer those questions.
And then if we decide to go with regulations, I mean, we've got time to work through them again. I mean, and then the hearing will be, and people's got the chance to
speak on that.
To speak at the hearing of
Correct.
what the regulations will be.
Correct.
If there are questions about extraneous things like the effects of solar panels on wildlife, I mean, the planning and zoning is not going to be in a position to answer those. I'm not sure that this is the place for that, other than to hear the public say, we're concerned about that.
Right.
I mean, you're not going to settle anybody's mind one way or another on it, but you're trying to see what the public thinks about it, I think.
Well, the experts.
I
can
think
sit there-
so as well.
The experts can sit there and talk all day long, but it's basically the public's what we're looking to, for what the public wants. I mean, you can have the pros and the cons sit there and we'd talk all day long, and you're not going to change the mind of either one.
But you don't think they should be educated on facts?
I think they'll educate themselves on what they need, and they'll ask the questions to the planning and zoning. What I believe, but
I guess maybe think of it like this. Is this a forum on the concept of solar power, or is this a forum on these regulations? I thought it was a forum on these regulations myself, but maybe.
I mean,
I think it's a forum on these regulations.
that's what I mean. Basically, does Linn County want these regulations? That's what I'm thinking. What does Linn
And I
County
mean, and
want?
they can step up there and say they don't want solar. That's fine. It's public comment. It's public forum. They can step up there and say they do.
And it may be that when the planning and zoning board, which will be there, hears this input saying, here's why we don't want solar, it may convince them that that's the direction to go in the regulations. I mean, that's.
I feel like, so to your point, Danny, I feel like it's planning and zoning's job to be able to look through the comments that are made and say, okay, that one doesn't make sense. That one does, and weigh those comments differently based off of what they deem to be factual information from their studies, from going through this process and everything that way. No.
I would like to have somebody there that can answer questions before, after, I don't know. I mean, not a debate, nothing like that.
The solar companies did a series of,
Yeah, but this is solar companies though. Like, I would rather have somebody that knows the facts. Like there at KAC, there was a guy that he wasn't really for it or against it, but he had facts on both sides of the fence about it, and I thought he did really well. David, he said it on the meeting too. Somebody like that that has no connections to solar itself or to Linn County. Somebody that just gives us the facts, that knows them.
We can listen to facts all day long, Danny, though, but if the people of Linn County, what the people of Linn County want, whether they want it or they don't want it, it's what we're after, or that's what I feel like we're after.
Can we look at something like the middle of March? Maybe the middle to end of March, something along those lines.
Yeah, I can get a hold of him and ask him. So as far as the meeting Wednesday night, keep moving forward, because the topic's been brought up that if we're waiting to hear from the public, why are they moving forward? That's been brought up.
I think it's so they can further their knowledge on our regulations, why they're in place and things that way, and go ahead and be listening to both sides of the argument. What do you guys think?
I don't know if there's.
I personally don't have a problem with what if the planning and zoning wants to continue or does not want to continue till they hear what the public says. I personally don't have a problem with it. what they want to do, because, I mean, they are the ones spending their time doing this.
They're looking at us for guidance on what they're gonna do. I mean, their meeting, that's really for 20 minutes.
You see what I'm saying? We could ask them what, I mean,
But that's what we said last week.
take a vote. Take a vote and ask them what they want.
But we can't do that until the next planning and zoning meeting. So on Wednesday, they can't have a vote, right? Because it's a workshop.
Right, it's not a place where they can take a formal vote on anything.
They can't to give us a vote of just a straw poll of what it is,
They can.
Gary, or not?
They could express their,
Can they not express their opinion, come back to us Monday and tell us what their opinion is, and then we can make a decision?
it wouldn't be a binding action of the planning and zoning board, but it would be an action of that committee.
But they're an advisory board to us anyway, right? I mean,
Right.
so we're the ones that's gonna make the decision. Once, I mean,
Basically, yeah.
I think they need to keep working through the zoning regs.
I say, ask them.
The zoning regs, and I'd like to put a date on it.
So
Let me ask you this. So if we go through all this stuff, what's our next step after, how long till you can have a public hearing?
If they get a set of regulations or set of revisions in place that they want, then you give notice, 20-day notice for your public hearing.
So we'll be way into May, June, probably?
So they wouldn't be able to do it in February. So if they got what changes done they wanted to get, even after the public forum, it would be March before they could take a vote. And if they vote, then we could set it out for a public hearing, and that would be another 20 days.
till April.
But we're not having our forum until March now, right? I mean,
Was just a thought. I was just throwing it out there. I wasn't hard and fast on it. I mean, if all it is comment, then why not on the 26th? You know, if we're not gonna have the zoning regs and stuff there for them to look through and be able to see what is proposed and
and ask, can we ask them exactly what they want to do and when they want to have the meeting?
I feel like we just keep kicking it back and forth between each other.
Yeah, but if we set a, let's come up with the questions, what we want to ask them, and have them answer. When they want the form, and do they want to continue working on the regs until? That's two questions. The date they want to have the form, or when, and then when they want to, do they want to continue working on the regs, or do they want to wait till the public hearing?
Well, I mean, when I voted for a moratorium, my thought in my head was that we were gonna work on the regulations. So if we're not gonna do that, then I just don't understand why I would have. The regulations is the most important thing, in my opinion. Getting facts out there, taking everything in consideration, and then working from there.
So you guys had talked about getting as much done as they could. What if we kept the February 26th date, continue working through them? If we get done, we get done. If they don't get done, then we still hear the public comment, and then we finish, because either way, they're going to have to go through the public comment with the regs. So we go through them, do the public comment, finish going through them, then they can vote whenever they're comfortable to vote and set it for a public hearing.
I'm fine with that. I keep coming back to, I still want them going through the regs, because I think that's sparking conversation on the pertinent issues that are developed with the solar.
And if they do get through them, then all they've got to do after the 26th is go through the comment. If they don't get done, they can take the comments and work back through them. And that way there's still progress going.
If we do that though, I mean, I don't think we should hurry them on the date of the meeting. I mean, I think we ought to push it back a little bit if we want them to go through them, if they're gonna go through the regulations. That's why do we want to push them to get through them in a hurry? If that's what
I'm not trying to hurry them through them.
I'm not saying you are, but I'm just saying that's what.
I know, I just want that to be clear, that I want them to
We,
have the discussions.
we should let them ask, I think we should ask them when they want the meeting. And, if they want to continue. It's the two questions I'd like to ask. And that's pretty, the answer to those two questions would be pretty simple to me. Of what they want.
I feel like the meeting at Prairie View or whatever, I think it's just gonna be a shit show for our planning and zoning. I think it's an opportunity for a lot of people to get at them, and I feel like that we have to have somebody there to support the facts and the regs that can answer questions. I mean, it's like a hanging for our planning and zoning people. They don't deserve that.
Well, they're not gonna be on trial, they're not gonna be asked questions, correct?
That's how I understood it.
That's, I wouldn't think the planning and zoning's,
It wasn't a matter of them
Defending what's there, it's a matter of them hearing what people say about it.
hearing what people want, whether they
So
want.
500 people go through, we're gonna take 500 comments down, and then we're gonna come in here and talk about it?
We're not, but they are. Planning and zoning will.
That's what,
So we shouldn't eliminate any of those possibilities with having somebody there that knows solar inside and out.
That's not what I understood the meeting was about, no.
but
I don't
that's,
think anybody understands what anything's about right now, so that's what we're trying to build right now,
I think-
in my opinion.
I think there's,
Pretty general consensus here that what the meeting was about was intended to be, was an opportunity for the public to say what they think about these regulations.
what the public wants.
Yeah.
I mean, I can guarantee you, Ally and them, she can fill that auditorium with 1,000 people that want no's. I mean, so how's that fair to the people that
Well, if there are people who want solar, then they need to get their folks out. I mean,
They can't just sit by the wayside.
That's both
like
of their
everybody did when we
opportunities.
made the regulations?
Right.
Right.
as you said, we've got regulations in place. And so the question is, do we change them or not? I mean, that's what we're asking people to give their opinion about.
And all I'm saying is I want a educated opinion. That's,
Well, I'm afraid that in this day and age, education is, I think people are much more interested in having an opinion than having an educated opinion. I guess that's what I would say that,
Okay.
what do you think? I mean, where are we at? What are we doing?
Jim wants them to do what they want to do.
But I feel like that they came in here 2 weeks ago and asked us
I agree with
what we're
that.
gonna do. I mean,
I
what
agree
we want
with
them to
that.
do.
That's why I said we were just keep kicking it back and forth. And that's why I'm saying that we need to tell them that we want them to go ahead and work through the zoning regs, and I'm fine with them scheduling the meeting when they want to schedule it.
Yes, I can agree with that.
Are you okay with that path, Jim?
No, not really, but that's, if you let them schedule the meeting, yeah, why are you gonna let them schedule the meeting? And why don't we ask them what the?
Why do we even add a committee when we've already did the due process of the regulations?
Because after we did it, we got all this feedback from people that said they
Well,
didn't
but we
know.
did the process and we spent 70 grand on a guy to do it for us, right?
35, I
I
thought.
don't know what it was a lot, I think, but then it said we can debate on it all day why we're doing what we're doing, but
We spent a lot of money on a lot of other things. Didn't turn out too good either, so.
Okay.
That we didn't get an answer on.
we're talking about this. So.
Well, I'm just saying, we spent a lot of money on a lot of other things. Didn't work out too good.
I think our grievances is a lot of money too.
So, okay,
So just so I'm clear, we're continuing to work through them, and I'm gonna ask them if February 26th is okay, or if they want a date in March.
it's fine. Danny?
Yeah, I mean, can we have answers? So we don't
Okay.
keep having to do this.
Okay, that's all I got.
Okay.
Thank you.
Darren, I got a question for you. We talk about this pilot program a lot. We get on the internet, you see all this stuff about what the county's gonna give these people, but we never see what these people are gonna give the county. When are we gonna start talking about pilot details, what they're gonna be doing for the county, or what they could potentially do for the county? Do they have could they give us a rough draft pilot program that they do with another county? I mean, I think it's important that right now, I mean, if you don't know anything about solar, you think that the county's just giving land to the solar people. Right? I mean, would you guys not agree or no? Or would you agree? Because as of right now, I mean, if you don't pay attention to these meetings, what's the solar gonna do for the county?
I don't think,
I don't have a good answer for people when they ask me that.
So do you think we should start looking into that, discussing that? I think that's probably,
I don't think that's in our hands.
but why is it not?
Is that the job of the commission, or is that the job of the people who are supporting solar? Do they need to get that information out? You know what I'm saying? That you guys are supposed to be a kind of a neutral body,
Right.
supposedly. Just,
It's not in our hands. I mean, as far as knowing what the pilot is.
What do you mean? It's exactly in our hands. We're the ones that make that negotiation.
It will be if we have zoning regs.
You're right, that's what I'm saying.
You know, I had a question on that last week and I told them that I hadn't really done any more work towards it since December.
So you're saying we can negotiate the pilot?
We do negotiate the pilot when we have a CUP.
I just don't agree with that. Why would we agree to something and then negotiate it? Why do we not negotiate it and then put it in the CUP, what they're gonna do for us?
the advice that we've been given is that if we come to them, the solar company, and say, we'll give you a CUP if you will pay us this much money, that there may be some legal problems with that.
We're not in control of the CU, or of the pilot.
So we're just gonna
We
allow
have
them
no
to
control
control.
over it.
But I mean, I don't understand why we don't. I mean, is this hearsay or is this actually legal? Like that we can't do that because
If let's put solar aside, somebody comes up here and says, I want a conditional use permit to do X, Y, and Z. And you say, well, if you'll pay us $100,000, you can have it. That has the scent of bribery.
Right.
Or something along that line. They call it pay to play.
Right.
I think somebody told me one time we have insurance for stuff like that, right? You guys said one time. I mean, I just don't understand why, if somebody comes to me and they want something, you damn straight I'm gonna want something in return. Like, that's a no-brainer.
But you're not a government.
So people can just come ask us for whatever they want. If somebody wants this building, they come ask us for it.
So
We can do about it.
are you asking that we have the solar companies come in and tell us what they would be willing to offer or make a preliminary offer or something of those?
I think that would be appropriate.
I would just like to start talking about it because
Just ask them.
all we ever talk about is just a tax return, right?
Just ask the solar companies to make a presentation about what value they can bring to the county.
I mean, because what I read, they can do more than just taxes. They can help schools. I mean, do you have any knowledge on any of that?
There's a lot of things they can do. I've heard of them buying fire equipment for fire departments, helping schools with funding for certain things, a lot of different stuff.
I think it's important that the public.
None of
knows-
it's actually in the pilot. They can do what they want to do, and that once they decide, I mean.
That stuff's outside of the
Right.
pilot.
I mean, once we've got the cup and we've let them in here, they can decide what they want to do for us.
Yeah, if that would be something that they would work
Or
out with
not
the
for
schools.
us.
There's those kinds of things, and then there is a signed pilot agreement. Once there is, the pilot stands for payment in lieu of taxes, and they will sign an agreement as to what those will be. So once the agreement's signed, that's a definite deal. But that, there's only a tax abatement for 10 years. And then when that tax abatement's over, then that equipment goes on the property taxes.
Okay.
How fast can they depreciate it though?
I think it gets down to about a 50% depreciation over that 10 years. That's just a ballpark number that I've been told.
I mean, I'm just trying to be real. I mean, the most important thing is what could it do for the county if it comes here, right? I mean, right now.
That's why, Danny, I think we need to know what the county wants. That's my,
But I think the county should also know that what they could get if it happens.
right,
I mean, because,
but we don't know.
I mean,
I don't-
I
I
know
don't
you
know.
get phone calls over taxes and, and all kinds of stuff, equipment. I mean, we all do. So I just think it's important for everybody to know exactly what solar could do for the county potentially. I
So
mean,
do we have Darren reach out to the two companies that have proposed projects possibly coming to our area and see if they're willing to present?
yeah, I mean, I think it's time to talk about it.
It don't bother me for them to come and talk. I mean, they can come talk all they want.
I can reach out to them and ask them if they're willing to do that.
I think if they're gonna talk, it ought to be right here myself.
I agree.
I agree. Yeah. Right here. Yeah.
I agree, Jim.
Okay.
We've heard all the bad, what it could do. I'd just like to hear what the good on it. I mean, what it could do for expense of the county, for the people of the county, schools and whatnot.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you, Darren.
thank you.
Sean?
Sean West, Public Works Administrator. Apologize, I didn't send anything out last week. I was gone most of the week with illness. I have a short list to go through with no action on anything as far as projects go. Hellsbin, contact was made with the engineering company, and they are working on the plan or at grade crossing or options that we asked them to look at. At some point when they develop that, they will come here and they will speak directly to you.
Okay.
That'll be the next step in this process, for them to come present that and to come walk you through before we go to KDOT and ask for a reletting. Last week, we spoke about the on-call engineering and selected Call Valley. They have sent us a contract for review. I would like to clarify, last week in our discussion, during our discussion, we spoke about the year time limit of that. That is incorrect. That is what we had when I first got here. We were doing year to year. We put this out as a 2-year simply because bidding it each year was a larger process than what basically the work versus the benefit. We put a lot more into the project to bid it every 12 months as opposed to bid it every 24 to get those services. So when you do see that contract, Gary got it, when we bring it to you next week, you'll see that that is 2 years. So I wanted to make sure I corrected that. Also,
And we'll approve it as 2 years and that'll be okay in our minutes, or
However you approve it, it'll be okay.
Okay.
Also, next week or this week, we will be putting out for your review the mowing RFP at some point, and this is review only because I believe when we come and speak to you about it and ask permission to send that out, that we'll get with Randy, and he'll want to speak to you as well about certain parts of this. At one, we've got the shop foremans to come in from the road department to cover their 3 to 5 year equipment plan. Last week, interviews were done with prospective applicants for the road department. I'll be reviewing those and bringing recommendations to you next week. And I need 5 minutes executive session for non-elected personnel. That is all I currently have for you.
Okay. Questions for Sean?
I don't know.
Probably need to go ahead and get that taken care of. Did you have any other executive
I have
session?
no executive session stuff. I've got just a couple things that we can deal with in the meeting, or we can hold it next week. That's up to you.
I need, 10 minutes for non-elected personnel legal.
Okay. Want to make a motion?
Make a motion, we go into executive session for 15 minutes. Me with the non-elected personnel for legal, and then 5 minutes with Sean for non-elected personnel.
I'll say,
Motion been moved and seconded for
Okay, total of 20 minutes then, is that correct?
10 and 5.
15 total,
15
Okay.
total.
5 with Sean. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to go into executive session for non-elected personnel for 15 minutes. 5 of those with Sean. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
right when we notifications system get an email about GoGov. Okay, we're back on.
Okay. Sean, do we need to handle those?
We've got some executive session. I make a motion that we fire Jessica Hightower at will.
And I would recommend that you not be involved in the discussion at all, so that means that who's the vice chairman now,
Me.
then you need to
Run the meeting.
run the meeting for the time being.
I made my motion.
Well, I think your motion's stupid. I'm not seconding it.
So the motion will die for lack of a second. If there's no-
Motion dies for lack of a second.
Gavel back to,
Okay. Sean?
Commissioners, I have a retirement notice and a resignation notice, retirement notice from Donald Fish and a resignation from Jake Fleming. You have copies, both gave appropriate notice, and I see no reason not to accept those.
I'll make a motion that we accept the resignation notices of Donald Fish and Jake Fleming with thanks for their service.
I'll second.
Motion been moved and seconded. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
That's what I had.
Okay.
Commissioners, I've got another conflict coming up here. I
Right.
gotta run. I got a couple things that I'll just wait and do them next week, if that's all right with you.
That'll be fine.
I hate to leave, but
Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for public comment at this time. A citizen desiring to speak on any item not on the agenda may do so at this time. Discussion is limited to 5 minutes, and the commission will not take action at this time. Items introduced under public comment may become agenda items at a later time and date. Is there any public comment?
Hi, I'm Sherry Gentry, as you all know. What I'm addressing the commission on today is these voter districts. There's a lot of confusion. And several months ago, Jason, you addressed me after a meeting and said that I was not in your district. And at that point, we called David over, and he said that the districting had changed last year. And Ally had heard that also, so it struck a chord with her about, because she has always thought she was in District 1 as well for several years. Well, I have emailed David about a clarification on it. And he said the other day that it was changed in 2011. And I need some clarification on how this all transpired and if there's more people other than Greg and I and my mother that have been voting in the wrong district. Because we've lived here for 25 years. We voted for Herb Pemberton for every one of his elections as a commissioner. We voted for Rick James for every one of his elections. And I did not know you, and I spoke with other people, and we voted for you as well. And it's concerning my husband and myself and my mother. And there's just, I don't understand what transpired. And David said that it was in the email, his explanation was that it was the poll, let's see. He says, I've already stated I don't remember saying that your commission district changed last year. I know we reviewed the districts a year or two ago after the census. If I said that, I was wrong, and I should have researched the issue before making a comment. Valley Township has not changed commission districts since 2011. If you have received a wrong ballot, it would be from a poll worker. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about that after some votes. Once the ballot goes in the scanner, we cannot take it back, and we would have no way to know which ballot it was. If you believe you're receiving the wrong ballot, please bring it up before you cast the ballot. At that point, we can research the issue and get you the correct ballot if it's wrong. Well, the problem being is if the voter district change hasn't been changed, how many other people has this affected is what my question is. I would like to have some clarification on when this was changed, because I know we did not receive any notification that we were changed, and I know Ally hadn't received any either. So we need some clarification before these elections start to make sure that we're all, because the way I understand it, and Emily can chime in here, a poll worker puts your ID into the system and there's a code and it shows who you're supposed to vote for. Which ballot is pulled for you, which should be in your district, which should be the people such as you, Rick James, or Herb Pemberton. And we voted in that District 1 for 25 years. And so I don't understand what has transpired here, because if it was changed in 2011, I find it hard to believe that poll workers screwed that up for 12 years. So I want you commissioners to be aware, and I'm going to speak with David later on, and I want to see I know he can't provide the ballots, but I need to know what the process and how it all came about, because this is a serious issue when you're talking about elections. And I do know that my husband and I and my mother have all voted in your district since Herb Pemberton was in there. Okay. And those are the ballots we received. So I want to make you all aware of it, and that David and I are going to pursue it and figure out before we have to take it any further.
Okay. Thank you, Sherry. Is there any other public comment? Okay. If not, we'll go ahead and close public comment. Next on the agenda, we had the 5-year equipment plan with the road foremans. Oh. Okay, yeah, come on up, Lisa. Sorry.
Lisa Kelstad, interim appraiser. I just wanted to let you guys realize that we want to apply for our CBNs to be 15 days later than is the required March 1st mailing. And the state of Kansas wants us to know that we need to notify the commissioners that we're planning on mailing around the 15th of March this year for CVNs, change of value notices. And that's right on track with where we were last year, so we're aiming for the same days. We got about a 2-week leeway in there that we can mail. But anyway, they want you guys to know first.
Okay.
Before we move forward.
Does anybody have an issue with
Do we
that?
have to do anything? Nothing, just.
That's when we mailed last year, and that's a normal time for us to mail, but it is, March 1st is the deadline with the state of Kansas, so.
Okay.
Okay, all right, that's all I had.
Thank you,
So
Lisa.
thank you.
We talked last week or the week before about a new date for you guys, and I think this is how this came about. Maybe we're thinking about moving around that same time that you're talking.
The problem is if we mail valuation notices, the week after would be a great week if we had to move, because then we'll start right into informal appeals. So they'll have 30 days to appeal after the valuation notices go out. So,
The 15th, you're saying?
pardon
Week
me?
after the 15th, you're saying?
Yeah, the week after the 15th would be, that would give us, we'd still have to have somebody answering the phones. And so we'd still have to have a computer set up to be ready to go, because once the taxpayers come in, then we need to set up hearings and go right into hearing phase. In February, we're having payment under protest hearings, so we really have to have dedicated computers and office space at that time. But we have another big mailing date in May 1st, that we mail personal property. So that's a really busy time for us until June 1st. So, but if, we'll work with everybody. If you,
Last week of March, the 25th, would that be better?
well, that's a deadline to shoot for. We have, that, yes, because March 15th is, that'd be fine. We'll work with it. Yeah.
Sean, you good with that?
I'm sorry.
Are you good with that date? The end of March to move?
Can we be completed by then?
That, the timeline I've been given, if everything goes on track, we will be able to move. I'll keep you updated on.
Our biggest issue is we have to have computers.
Right.
We have to be able to access our system. That will be our biggest issue,
Okay.
is that we can access and keep working.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
We will know as we get closer, and
we'll try to keep you updated on that.
Okay.
As far as physically moving, that's not a problem, is the building and the infrastructure. And that part, I won't know until we get closer.
Yeah, and we would like to be kept abreast on that because we've seen some cleaning issues that need to be done. The carpets need to be cleaned before we move in.
There's carpet that needs replaced.
Well, I didn't know if you were going to replace it or not. I didn't know what the budgets were like, but yeah, some of it's not good at all. It's really dirty and it needs cleaned. So before we go in and make it muddy ourselves. So anyway,
Right.
So, all right. Well, thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you, Lisa.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Commissioners, we have the shop foremans and one of our mechanics in to go over the 3 to 5 year equipment plan for the road department. As they go over these recommendations, Jessica and I'll take notes as to anything we need to adjust. But what I'd ask you to consider is if there's something that you want bid differently, such as new versus used, or a wider spec on equipment or something of that nature, if you'll make it clear as to how you want it adjusted on the line items, we will adjust it and bring it back to you before we make any final decisions on what gets approved and what we go out to bid for. But they are prepared for any of your questions, and I'll take up presidency over here and try to take notes.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Jesse Walton, North Shop. You go through that list, we have needs and walk through there. Our needs are mainly just dump trucks and transport trucks for our lowboy trailers, to haul our excavators around, haul our dozer around, whatever other equipment we need to transport. As far as going through the dump truck with plows and salt spreaders on there, the one that has given us the most feedback on this is Kenworth, and we've got a T880 truck that we can buy new for $455,000. That's with a 11-foot blade, the sandbox on there, and the nice thing about these trucks is their beds are square; they're not tapered down, which helps us on road cleanup with trees, debris, anything of that nature. We can hold more in it. And use that truck to its full capacity on there. The other thing that we would like is our road tractor to haul our lowboy trailers around. We've had 2 bids back. They're very similar. They're right about $180,000 for a new one. That's something we don't need new, that we can go and purchase as a used piece of equipment. Currently up at the North Shop, we have 4 dump trucks, 3 that are usable. 4 motor graders that are under my jurisdiction, a transport truck, skid steer. But the only thing that we need to really change out is dump trucks up there. Just 1 dump truck traded out for a new one on that end.
So on here, Jesse, it said lease.
Yep, Denny's gonna go over the lease options on that. With that, mine's just gonna go through as far as purchasing things new, what the cost is on it new. The 200,000 mile warranty on it, the 60-month warranty is still the same whether we buy it new or we lease the truck, the dump trucks. So that warranty stays the same. That's just the cost as if we buy it new. We have reached out to Mack Trucks to get their specs on it. They did send something back. They've been a little bit slower getting back to us on it. I did reach out to Freightliner, and I have not heard anything back from them either on these trucks. They were getting something together. That's been over a month ago getting that together. So Kenworth's been the one that's been the best to get back to us on those specifications. Is there any other questions for me?
I don't have any.
Okay.
Thank you, Jesse.
Good afternoon, Denny Hardy, District 3 Road Foreman. So just like Jesse, we're in need of a dump truck. We got rid of one of our dump trucks in the sale. It had some transmission problems. They replaced transmission. They had more transmission problems. And at that point, I figured there's no need in throwing good money after bad. We are in desperate need of a road tractor. Ours is in bad shape. In order to fix it, it would probably cost us more than that tractor is worth. With Kenworth, I got with them. They got back with me with Master Tech, who builds their dump trucks. They have a 7-year warranty on those. That covers the engine, the transmission, everything but lights and a nut and bolt here and there. I mean, they're pretty comprehensive. That's why we also looked at, they gave us the information on their lease program. They have a 3-year lease, which is I think it's 160,000 a year. And we were looking more at the 7-year. It's roughly about $65,000 a year. That would include the warranty. That would mean that the trucks would be warranted all the way through the lease program. When that lease is over, we own the trucks. There is no balloon payment. It's all calculated, figured in.
So it's a lease purchase?
Yes.
Okay.
And like I say, once the 7 years is up, we own the truck. We can decide from there, what kind of shape it's in. We're really pushing that we think we can buy these dump trucks and keep them for a long time. Kenworth brought us 2 different options. They are really stout trucks, and I think they would do us a lot of good. I think they could be long-term trucks for us. The problems we've had with these Freightliners is we're constantly working on them. I mean, we've had transmission problems, we've had electrical problems. It's been a lot of headache. Other than that, that's where I'm at. I need a road tractor and we need dump trucks.
Can we find the used road tractors, you think, as far as?
We can always look to find a used road tractor. I proposed the new because they'd already have the warranty on them. The road tractor I got back from Kenworth has a 6-year, 200,000 or a 5-year, 200,000 mile warranty. We can always find used. The only thing I worry about is what we're getting.
Didn't we purchase one here a few years ago, David?
Yeah, she bought North Shops used.
Yeah.
And they've spent twice as much as we paid for it on it, keeping it on the road.
So that's the 93, or that's the 93 is yours?
The 93 is mine.
Okay.
What's the new skid steer? I know we just bought 2 here just not too long ago.
Anything else for me, gentlemen?
All right. Thank you, Danny.
Afternoon, Commissioners.
How are you?
Thanks, Todd.
Muller, Asphalt Division. I'm asking as a need for a high-flow skid loader. It does not have to be new for us. We're fine with used. We have a 262 right now, high lift. Talking with Caterpillar, they said in order to run the PC 310B we just bought, we need a 262D and above, which the 262 is what we have. So the way we transport, it wouldn't change anything. It's kind of the model I'm looking at. We'd be able to run tree snippers and everything else with that. We wouldn't have to borrow theirs constantly whenever we're trying to do any kind of a project, which is what I'm aiming at, not tying up north or south skid loader for months at a time. And then I talked to Bobcat, and they sell a cable that will connect to the milling machine to a Bobcat. It's $1,100 to do it, but I'd like to have that as a backup just because if ours does go down or if they need to use it, they have the ability to use that milling head for anything they want to try to use it for. But I'd really prefer to have one of our own. That way, like I said, I'm not tying up all their equipment. I've found them anywhere from 45 used on the low end, 90,000 new, according to Caterpillar.
Okay. Any other questions on the 2024 list?
Any more questions for me, gentlemen?
I don't think I have any.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So like one of the dump trucks that we're replacing is an 07. Did we buy it new?
The International? Oh, no, yes, you did. It was a.
Yeah,
No, it should be 307. Thought 307 wasn't the International.
I got 108 on here and then 307.
Yeah, 108's one that we'd like to send to the auction, get rid of. It's unsafe to use anymore.
So that we,
How long has it been since we used it? I mean, is it been?
Well, I don't know. It was parked in their shed when I got here,
So it's
and
been
we
sat-
pulled it out, and I went through it with my guys, and there's no way I'm letting that out of the yard anywhere. Apparently that truck has been through at least one motor, one tranny, 3 computer boards. So we've already spent a good 50,000 in that truck already, since purchasing it new.
Like, how long it's been since we've used it, I guess, is it?
I think it's been a year.
You used it during chipping season until it was actually broke.
We used it last summer.
Yes.
so that's why it wasn't on the sale.
Yeah.
Because we were still using it at the time we scheduled the sale.
Yes, it was still in use until it had catastrophic failure.
If I may, I was the last one to drive that I'm hired on.
Come on up, Daniel.
It has an electrical issue. It pops a fuse, shuts the truck completely down. You lose everything. Got to come to a stop, change fuse out, restart the truck. It's poses a danger to be out there on the road.
Definitely. Have we ever looked at buying used trucks? That way, use dump trucks or,
You're talking to new.
I know,
We've bought used trucks before. We had a 2008 Sterling that we bought from Miami County. That ended up having a massive problem with the turbo system on it, and it ended up, we sold it a couple of years back because it turned out it was more cost.
than what we did, yeah.
So we've tried that used route before. It really never pans out for the trucks because by the time anybody's getting rid of them, they're generally beaten up or wore down.
Right.
That's one of the pieces of equipment that usually gets overused and then sold.
The dump trucks?
Yeah, because, and a lot of the problem you have with a lot of companies is you get drivers in there that just
Don't know.
don't care. Most are there for a paycheck. They don't care about the company, so they don't treat the equipment good and the company has stuff. So.
The only other thing I would suggest if we're gonna look for used is to not go to auction. Look for something certified used from a dealer. That way we can probably get a warranty out of it and have some peace of mind that it's gonna run rather than a crapshoot of take it around the block and they band-aided it enough to get it around the block.
Cause I mean, you're both forecasting another dump truck for next year, right? And these are 2007 trucks that we bought new at that time. Did we buy those new, the 2007s?
I'll have.
I know,
It's not here at the time.
Right.
truck 108 was bought new by the county. As far as the road tractor for pulling that, that's something I think we can go used on that. We're not going to put as many miles on it as the dump trucks will. That's one reason why we're pushing to get a new dump truck. You can get a pretty good used road tractor from a dealer. Like Denny was saying, I think the route, if we're going to go with used, do that. Go through a dealer to purchase one that way. We know it's gone through, get a stamp of approval from them on that.
Commissioners, can I clarify? You're not asking for in 25, we carry the lease over if you want to do the lease.
Okay.
That should have been our totals in here.
So
Okay.
that way, if we wanted to lease those trucks, we could get 2 trucks a year versus just buying one. Yeah.
Understood.
For clarity, I'm sorry, Daniel, can you answer a question? I know Jack isn't here. There were also, we put things to the school budget rather than project them on the equipment budget, but depending on what we got the other items for, they could be pulled out of this budget as well. The 15-ton jack, 2, and the AC machine, can you explain what the 15-ton jack is? My understanding is this is safety equipment that we don't have to work on the trucks.
Yeah, I believe they're needing some jacks there at the Pleasanton shop. These are large bottle jacks. It's primarily for stability and safety. They don't.
They're on the crib.
Yeah,
The crib when we go to lift the tractor up, because the only jacks we have are so low to the ground. We'd like to get something that can actually fit under it.
They're having to walk up cribbing,
yeah. Gotcha.
and that's.
These are taller. They have a lot longer stroke on them. So
They've also got a pitting system in the neck that you can actually slide and act like a jack can, so if it does fail, it'll catch on the pin instead of actually.
collapsing.
What's the AC machine? What is it?
The AC machine is a AC recovery machine, so that when we go to work on air conditioning, per regulation, we can't just vent that gas into the atmosphere. What this machine does is we plug it in to the vehicle, and it suctions everything out, keeps everything contained in a canister. The shops have these machines currently. The bad part is they're all on R12. Well, R12, as we all know, is pretty much gone for the most part. And now then 134A is soon to be gone because they've come out with another product. The R12 machines aren't compatible. The oils aren't compatible. And all, obviously there's 2 different types of refrigerant. You can't mix the 2. So we're looking at replacing the old AC machines we have with upgraded.
And we're gonna go to the 134, we're going on up to the new one.
Right now, we don't have anything new, new enough
Okay.
to worry about this new technology they've come out with. As far as
So like our fleet is all.
yes, as far as I can tell, the government's pretty much leaving the over the road equipment and like the construction equipment. They're leaving it all in the 134A. It's primarily like your personal vehicles that's out on the road that they're changing all this to. If they decide years later down the road to go ahead and include the construction equipment, we'll have to deal with that at that time, but it's not forecasted anytime soon.
Thank you, Dan.
There's one piece of equipment on that list. It's called a speed mover. It is an attachment you put behind a tractor. It's just a pin hitch. This one will tilt side to side, up and down. This would work great for our little cemetery projects when we have to spread gravel on there. Kind of discussed using it at the fairgrounds. It's a box blade that you can put behind and works just like a tractor level, only it's just a lot smaller, so you can use on small roads, 7 to 8 feet wide. So you can catch material, keep it on there. Our maintainers are just too big to get into a cemetery. They're just too big to go in and out. You got a lot of blade in there to push gravel around. This just allows to keep our material where we need it on the roads on that. So that's one thing that would be nice to have. Not saying we have to have it, but it's one of those things that would definitely get passed through the county to use on roads or wherever. We use these back home on dirt roads quite often when we couldn't get a grader there. They're great to knock down humps in the road, keep material on the road. So that was one thing that we did want to present also, is that we'd like to put that into consideration.
What do we have for tractors to pull it with?
So we got all our mower tractors. I don't know what they're all, I mean,
The gentleman that has this for sale is pulling it with a 5100E, which is what we have in our fleet.
any one of our tractors could pull it. It's not going to be underpowered for that piece of equipment, that implement.
The other thing we haven't addressed is the rock savers.
Oh yes, the rock savers. Those are something that we had talked with before. They're great. They've got 3 of them down.
We've got three blades without rock savers. And they're one of those things that right now we're having to schedule when one guy needs it, we take it off another guy's blade, and then he goes out and uses it, and then we're swapping back and forth, and it's wasted time. Every one of these blade operators should be using these constantly. They're great for cutting out potholes. They're great for cutting out washboards. They're fantastic for bringing your rock back up on your road. We can cut back on just put more rock on it. We're both trying, North Shop, South Shop, to bring our crowns back up on our roads. And these rock savers are going to do nothing but help us. I mean, it breaks up your hard packed roads. You can rework your crowns. You can put those roads right back in order and not have to have a rock truck following you around.
Commissioners, as you look at that list, and what I told the foremans when we came up with this list is that first year is the most important year on there, because those are the items that we like to go out, get bids on, and bring back pricing to you for your considerations. This list is an overview of what we'd like to go look at, and if that overview isn't correct, then we'd need guidance on that. The only thing that cannot be changed, and we've also told the foremans, every year we will meet and we will update this list, because equipment will break down faster than we think it will. Priorities will change. So each year this list will change. But the one thing that is pretty consistent about this is that long-term truck lease. So if you want that bid in any way, shape, or form differently, if you want to look at other options, if you want to look at other purchase options with the same vehicle or different vehicles, however you want to look at that, that is the one thing that will carry and affect each year, that once we implement, we obviously can't change for the 7-year period.
Direction to give them?
Probably going out and getting present.
You want them to look at new and used on like the skid loader and the road tractor?
My personal opinion on the skid steer, I want to look at the used. We're not going to get anything under 2012. Is that when DEF came in? I think that's about right.
So
I've dealt with that on Bobcat hardcore, and me personally, if I had the opportunity, I'd never buy a used one as DEF. I've had a lot of issues with mine, so.
We'd like to buy anything that doesn't have debt.
And so on the skid loaders with DEF, aren't they at a certain threshold, or do they all have DEF on them now?
I believe they all have. I think
I think the newer tier.
Smaller ones don't have it, I don't think. I think there's some John Deere's that I know you can buy that don't have it, but I don't know size wise.
90 horsepower.
or 70.
Or at 70? Yeah.
Over 70?
But I'm pretty sure Bobcat just came out with a brand new engine that's like a tier 3 or something that doesn't have that. But I could be wrong. But
I know there's John Deere's that you don't, there's a threshold that you don't, that they wasn't on just a year or two ago anyway. The depth wasn't.
I can look into all of that. It's not an issue. I'm trying to find out which one's the only one down.
Okay.
Just the high flow.
It just has to be a high flow, and if we go with any brand other than Cat, I'll have to have the adapter. Which, like I said, I'd like to have that anyways.
And like the,
How many hours do we put on the other two we have a year roughly? Does anybody know? I mean, two.
The one that we got from Harry's shop has around 1,500 hours.
How much?
That's in 01, 02. You're close to that now, isn't it?
Yeah. I can't tell you how many hours we put on it in a year, but we use the hell out of it. I mean, it's just a matter of trying to keep from Todd having it for 2-3 months while he's doing asphalt and stuff, and then us having to borrow it or borrow somebody else's or run here and run there, and we're all trying to do the same thing. I mean, we use ours all the time. I don't know about North Shop, but especially now we're picking up brush and stuff. We use ours weekly.
do we have any direction to give them versus purchasing versus the lease purchase?
So there's solid figures on the lease purchase. Is there any negotiation in it or is there?
I think that's before they do the discount for government entities.
We
So they-
probably work a little bit more out of it.
He did tell us that it was before you get that government discount on that. So that was their sale price with taxes and that in there. So I know that price will come down.
Well, and when you earlier said you were getting solid pricing, we asked them to go out to get were the prices that we used to plug into this form. We'd still have to go out, once you gave us permission to go out with RFPs and specs and get solid numbers.
Right.
And bids, because our purchase policy would require that.
I know on the road tractor, his initial bid he sent me didn't have the federal excise tax taken off of it, and that was 12%, which brought that down considerably. I don't know if we took the federal excise off the dump trucks when we got the price on those, but there is some wiggle room, and like Sean says, we'll have to go out and bid these, get solid prices.
So do we want to have them bid them both as lease and purchase?
I'd like to look at both of them.
I would like to look at both of them too.
I don't know that we can get one without the other. Like, I don't know that we can get a price on a lease without getting a price for,
Okay,
so we're gonna get them both.
okay. Perfect. Other questions? Anything?
I don't have anything now.
Okay. Do you guys have any other questions for us?
No.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Do you have anything for us?
I actually do. For one, I sent out emails sometime recently about the next SEK meeting in Coffee County. I didn't know if you guys have made any decisions on if you're planning on going to that or not, but I need to let them know within the next 2 weeks on how many are coming. So just something to think about. It's, April, let me find it here. April 18th in Burlington at the Kelly Hall. And there's an address on the invitation for that.
You sent that to us.
Yeah. So just think about that, or if you know now, let me know, but I'm going to need to let them know before terribly long how many people are coming. Okay. The other thing is if you have time and would want to see it, and if Sherry has time to look at this while we're in the open meeting, I'd like to show all of you the ballots for the last several years on commission races and explain where I'm coming from on this.
Okay.
So, I mean, you guys, I mean, they're on my computer screen. I don't have printouts. I just brought them up.
Is this the ballots for all?
Yes, for all these different years. So, and Emily knows from voter training, this is where the poll workers look for the ballot stat. This is what comes up in their poll book. This SLT is South Lincoln, VAT is Valley, and we've used those codes for several years. So if you go back on this one, you look here at the top, this is 2010. So in 2010, on a South Lincoln ballot for county offices, County Commissioner Herb Pemberton, that's District 1. If you look at the Valley,
That's who I voted for.
let me show you these, okay? The Valley ballot for that deal, this is also 2010. So there's the 2010. Valley Township, Herb Pemberton, District 1. The next time any commissioners were on a ballot would be 2012, because every 2 years there's some of them. So if you look at the 2012 ballot, the South Lincoln, and you get to county offices, there's no commissioner because it starts at clerk. Commissioners are always the first one. So no commissioners were on the South Lincoln ballot in 2012. If you go to the Valley ballot, 2012, you come down to county offices, county commissioner, District 2. 2011 is when the change was made. 2010, you voted District 1. 2002, the Valley ballot has District 2. I have copies of these from every 4 years after that. It has not changed again. And like I said, if I made that statement, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have without researching first. But this has not changed since 2011. I can't bring up the registration program here. That has to be in my office. Is the only place I can see it because we connect through the clerk's office to the state. I can tell you I looked at yours, and if you want to come over there when I'm in the office, I can show you. It shows every change that's been made to your record in there. The last time your district changed was 2011. So when I say that if there was poll worker error, I'm not trying to throw poll workers under the bus, but I know your ballots did not have that race on them. So I have no other explanation on why you would have gotten a ballot with that commissioner on it, other than a poll worker error.
And like David, on our districts and things that way, you're not moving people within townships. The townships
No.
always stay.
Townships were precincts. It's not necessarily township. As Lincoln is north and south, and it could be a precinct at a time.
So you just move the precinct then?
But you move the whole precinct. When that move is made, it creates a change in voter registration, which creates a batch of the little postcards that go out the next time we're mailing them.
Right here, Brandon McGinnis.
Now that I will not guarantee you receive because I know I've been told by a lot of people they never get those.
So the code.
And I do think the little postcards don't make it through the mail very well.
Where,
But I know by looking at my records, since 2011, Valley has been in the commission district it's in now.
Yeah, but that doesn't make sense. Greg and I and my mother were all given, we voted for Rick James.
And I know I voted for Rick James when I first moved
Well,
here.
and
then I
that's,
voted for him.
and that's why
So
I'm
if we
telling
are
you,
incorrectly in the voter rolls, could that pull the wrong ballot?
if you weren't in there correctly, then I can show you that in the registration too, and you are both invalid.
They go by population.
There, to me, there is no other explanation than there were poll worker errors, and I'd be surprised if they made errors that many times. I mean, it can happen,
See how weird it is here.
and I know it can happen, but I can't imagine it happening over and over on one
That's why I'm
township
saying
ballot.
something has to be incorrect, because I know her personally, and I know I voted for him. I know Rick James personally, and I know I voted for him, and my husband swears the same thing, and so did my mother.
And-
So there's something.
And I'm not
funky here.
trying to argue that.
I mean, we had to go.
I'm just telling you, according to the records and the voter registration system, you are not set up for that. Commissioner.
And I know I voted for him because I didn't know him, and I asked the person that knows him, and that's why I voted for him.
So just to clarify, because we talked about this in an email, Stanton and Valley are the only two townships that would go and vote in a different district.
Yes.
So those are really the only two places, like placing community center and wherever Stanton goes, that you really need to go over with the poll workers.
No, because there's multiple ballot styles at polling locations anyway.
It depends, because
There's all kinds of variations.
primaries, it's Republican, Democrat.
But we cover this at training every time. This is where to look for it. And I can show you in the voter records when yours changed. Like I said, we have to go over there and do that because I
I'd like
can't
to do
log
that
into
because
it.
I know who
Fine.
Greg and I voted for.
Is this map up to date, this color coded map for like all the districts?
What is that? Is that a road district or is that a commission district? Because if that's commission, it's not.
Taxing purposes.
Yeah, I don't know what their reasoning was on that.
It said 1, 2, and 3.
Well, but we've also had 1, 2, and 3 road districts for a long time, so I don't know what this map was made
It
for.
was printed in 2022, so I don't know. That's why I grabbed it.
Looking at
According to
that,
this, they are definitely in my district, right?
according to that, let me look, because we're townships. So there's Lincoln, there's Scott.
I would say.
Or that would be commission district
That's
as they are
commission
today.
districts is
Yes.
what it is.
Because Mound City, Blue Mound, Centerville, and Liberty, which is the Parker area,
It's a mile west of 7 Highway when
Our
it gets up there on the
District
Goodrich,
3.
goes north, and
Right.
that would be it.
North and South Lincoln, and
West of 7,
Scott are one.
Off of 1700.
Ferris,
it goes
Valley,
mile west of
Potosi,
Goodrich.
Sheridan, and Stanton are two.
For Sherry, they're right here. Or somewhere. Let's see.
Anyway, if you want to come to the office and look at the actual system where you're registered, I can show that to you. Like I said, I have to do that over there. I can't log in from anywhere else. But other than that, I have no other explanation. That's what the system says. That's how you're going to come up in the poll book.
Well, sounds okay, because I know who we voted for.
I don't know what else to tell you. That's what I've been trying to say. The records I have are what we go by. Okay? That's all I have.
You guys want to push 2024 goals to next week?
That'd be good.
Okay. Anything else we need to talk about?
I don't have anything.
Yeah. I don't have anything, David.
No.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries, meeting adjourned.